Jared Parry for Boxing Social in association with Forged Irish Stout and Empire Fight Store. Delighted to be joined by the WBA, Ring Magazine and IBO welterweight world champion Jessica McCaskill, stepping into the Dragon's Den this weekend. You know, coming over to Wales to fight Lauren Price, the Olympic hero from this country. You know, how are you feeling coming into this fight?
Oh, I feel great. We make sure that we're prepared before we get here, so the whole fight week is nothing but a breeze. And just got done with my public workout, so got to move around a little bit and see how the fans are accepting me, and it's all good.
Just say you're no stranger to going into other opponents' backyards and fighting them there. What's your reception been like since coming into Wales? Obviously, you've been in now for the start of the week, and then obviously now you've had the open workout in front of the fans. What's your reception been like?
Everybody is so ridiculously nice. They'll ask for a picture or they'll ask for an autograph, and then I'll say, "Are you rooting for me?" And then they're like, "No." I mean, they're brutally honest, but they're still very happy that such an amazing event is happening here in Wales. And so just, I am being received in a very nice fashion, but we'll see, how the energy flows on Saturday night.
Obviously, like you said there, there's a real buzz around Cardiff about this fight coming up, but unfortunately they're all backing Lauren Price. There's a few, I'm sure, that are backing yourself. But just how does that feel like, that people are, like, you are the underdog, according to the bookies and to the fans in Cardiff? How do you embrace that when people clash you as the underdog coming into these fights, even if you're the champion?
You just kind of have to take it and flip it around for yourself. You have to love the haters, you have to love the doubters, and then just use that energy to fuel yourself. I think Cardiff has, energy about just being, Cardiff Welsh people have energy about being Welsh. They love themselves here, and it's just an energy that's going to be here. So I'm happy for that, and I think it's going to really light things on fire on Saturday.
So obviously your opponent, Lauren Price, like I alluded to earlier, Olympic hero, she's got the amateur experience. You, though, have got the professional experience. You've been in with some of the biggest names, for instance, Katie Taylor, Chantelle Cameron, Cecilia Breakhouse, just to name a few. How do you think that your pro experience could maybe override Lauren's amateur experience in this fight?
I think, with the amateurs, there's only a certain amount of rounds you're going to fight. There's only a certain amount of levels that you'll have. You have protection. I mean, like amateurs and pros, there's some things that just can't be compared. And so with the pros, when you think about the people that Lauren's fought, they're not exactly top tier, high notch kind of people. And it could be one of those things where she just didn't feel like going up in levels, and now she is. And she's hungry for something big, so we'll just have to see what she brings on Saturday.
In terms of, as a professional for Lauren, it's quite well documented that she hasn't lost a round as a professional. What do you think you can do to change that?
Well, the thing that she says mostly is that she's been very comfortable in these rounds, and then, that word doesn't really exist when you're fighting me, so I think it's just going to show itself on Saturday.
So obviously what have you seen in Lauren's game that you think you could expose and work to your advantage?
I haven't watched a whole lot. I'm not one to really watch a lot of tape, but just the fact that the level of fighters that she's fought with, that's kind of the big thing, or the number of professional fights that she's had, that's also a really big factor.
When I talk about, obviously, your boxing under the Boxer promotional banner here, they've also got another welterweight world champion in Natasha Jonas. Obviously, she fought Michaela Mayer at the start of the year. Obviously, I think there's a lot of talk that they could be rematching, but would you be interested in the winner of that fight if you were to come through Lauren Price?
I would be very interested in fighting Natasha Jonas. I think that's a conversation that Rick and Natasha have had. Not just recently, maybe before, and they have conversations and things like that. So with her being on her way out, and I know that might be a rematch that she has to do. I'm not sure, but if not, then hopefully I can get a Natasha Jonas fight.
Also in that division, we've got Sandy Ryan, your past opponent of yours. She came through Terry Harper in her last fight. Is that a fight you'd be interested in running back with Sandy Ryan for a unification?
Quite possibly. I don't know if she's going to get out of her deal the same way Chantelle got out of her deal and got a new promoter. That would probably be more interesting if that were the case. But at this point, there's just a couple of names that are floating around, so we would have to get the logistics together and figure out what would work best for us.
You mentioned there about Chantelle Cameron coming out of a promotional deal. What was your take on all of that? Obviously, she's gone now to Frank Warren in the UK. She fought yourself in an undisputed fight in Abu Dhabi. Then she fought Katie Taylor twice, both in Dublin. Then obviously she wanted that trilogy fight. It hasn't come off. She's moved promotional companies. What's your thoughts on that whole process that's happened?
I mean, sometimes, working with Boxer, I'm not with Boxer, but we're working together on this fight. I'm independent at the moment, but, I've worked with 3 different promotional companies, so sometimes you just have to move on to things that make sense for you and, making sure that you have a promotional company that works with your team and not against you, and it looks like that's what she needed to do, so if that makes her happy, I'm happy for her.
As we mentioned a little bit as well, Katie Taylor, she's also involved in the rematch coming up now with Amanda Serrano, but on an undercard. Obviously, yourself and Katie Taylor have headlined in the past. Obviously, Amanda Serrano has also headlined many a show. Are you quite shocked to see him on the undercard, albeit it is Jake Paul and Mike Tyson?
Oh, no, Jake Paul's like the man, so, whatever he says goes, he'll put somebody in their place if they need to be put in their place, and I think that's what's happened. So, with them being on the undercard, it's just, it's a really huge money grab. Like, Jake Paul's going to make all types of cash with that, and he's got a lot of fans, he's got a lot of followers, so it's going to be pretty lucrative for whoever's on that undercard.
So what's your take on that fight? Have you got a prediction for Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano too?
Oh, I don't think they'll let Katie lose. I mean, you might see some weird stuff happen, like them not call a knockdown, or like the time of the rounds not be correct or something like that. So, I mean, we've seen that in the Joshua fights. I don't know if you've noticed that. Some of the fights that he's had, the rounds were not the full 3-minute rounds. But, things like that happen, and, I think Katie will come out victorious.
So just bringing it back to now your fight this weekend. So we've got this big fight now in Cardiff. Obviously, like we said, you're stepping into the Dragons Den essentially as an underdog. But how do you predict this fight going yourself?
Oh, I'm going to take the belts back home to Chicago.
Is that so? Have you got a final message to Lauren Price? What you've got to say to her?
No, I expect everything that she's got, and I don't see her as being flaky or anything like that. I think she's one to stand on her shield, and it's going to be a great match.
Thank you very much for your time, Jessica, and all the best for Saturday.